definitely appreciate that. And I think, like if I remember correctly, you had brought up something about like the morning routines, and I want to kind of pull that back into this conversation, right? And bringing back your dad into it. You had said that your dad was at the office at 7 o'clock, so that means he had to probably wake up 5, 6 o'clock every single morning to get ready to get to the office. So, like, what are your morning routines? Like, what time do you wake up? And I'm just trying to find like the similarities between your dad and yourself, and it's kind of like I'm painting this picture, but I'm seeing a lot of similarities from past to present.
Um, I will to answer that question, but I'm just going to mention something I did recently, which I'd advise your listeners to do. So my dad's in his 80s now, and I did a podcast recording with him recently, and I don't know where I heard this from, but I recorded an hour and a half interview with my dad,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not for public. It was an ask my family, the family, so my brothers and the kids all submitted questions about my dad's life, and
Cool.
so we have this hour and a half of my dad telling the story of his life now captured on like forever now. And the reason I mention it is I think I got this idea from a book or something a while ago, and honestly, like there's so much about my dad or my mom I did not know from, but after this interview, you
Mm-hmm.
just go a bit deeper. So I thought I'd mention that because I'd recommend it to anyone as a great, a great before it's too late, right? Because they're not going to be around forever. And
Yeah.
but my morning routine is probably very different to my dad's. My dad used to get up and then put his clothes on, have some breakfast, and go straight to the shop. And it would open. They have a post office, so they opened the post. It was less than an office, and he'd be behind the counter at 8 o'clock in the morning, serving the community effectively. My mornings look like I get up between 5:50 and 6 a.m. So I have like a get up before 6 a.m. every morning is kind of a goal. I do the normal stuff like go to the restroom and brush my teeth and etc. etc. I meditate for 10 minutes. I journal. I make myself a coffee. I read, and then I typically exercise. So I'll do like a home workout. I'll go running or something like that. And so that's about an hour to an hour 15. So between like 6 and 7:15, that's like my routine. And depending on what project I'm working on. So when I was writing the book, between 7 and 8 a.m. every morning, I would write for an hour. And that was my how I ended up writing the book. And so I have like a bit of time in the morning for working on like, I want to call them personal projects, but projects that need like a lot of time. So I'm starting to think about the second book now. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to make time for an hour or 40 minutes every day. And I'm very fortunate that my wife's super supportive, and she kind of gives me that space in the morning because she knows it's important. And she always laughs in like, unless you have your time in the morning, you're an absolute nightmare to be around. So it's a kind of a win-win for the family. If I've got up and I've got a good start to my day, the rest of the family seems I'm in a much better mood, much more likely to buy ice cream, right, or whatever, and everyone's happy. So that's how my morning is, and it was very much taken from the Miracle Morning book. The kind of way that he describes his morning, I basically adopted that practice, and I think I'm in year 7 of doing it now,
Wow.
which is honestly it's changed my life. Like getting up early in the mornings has genuinely changed my life. And journaling and reflecting back, it's the type of stuff where like, and even when I mentioned meditation, the part of me is like, oh my god, people think you're an idiot because you meditate. Like, there is a stigma around journaling and meditation and stuff like that, but I just don't really care anymore. Maybe when I was younger, I'd be like, I'm not telling anyone that I meditate, but I'm like, I'm better for it. I'm more centered for it. I'm more present. I'm a better person to be around. I'm more in touch with other people's feelings, and that can only be a good thing for them and myself. So I'd certainly encourage anyone, especially if you're going through a difficult time, like try and find that morning time to just center yourself. And it's certainly benefited me, and I'd recommend it to any of your listeners.